Welcome. We're on the red couch with Natalie Laughlin, plus-size supermodel and inspirational speaker. The word supermodel can't even begin to define the impact Natalie has had on the plus industry. In her years as a plus-size model, she has accomplished what many working models can only dream about. From magazine covers to billboards in Times Square, to educating women about healthy body image and eating disorders, Natalie embodies success as a model. Natalie, I am thrilled to have you on the red couch.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you. I just love to hear about how you first got here. You're from Trinidad.
Yeah, I was born on the island of Trinidad, which is right off the coast of South America, last island in the chain of West Indian Islands. And I came to America when I was 15. My family immigrated to Miami, and then I lived in New York City, going to New York University, and stayed there, lived there for 20 years.
So as a child, you were a heavy child, and there were different things that happened to you as a result of being a heavy child. Doctors prescribing diet pills.
Yeah, it was a very interesting journey for me from the beginning. I had this idea that, I was heavy and overweight, and even though people said that, you're so pretty, there was always this background. It was a bad compliment because they said, you could lose some weight. And from a very early age, I began to associate, that losing weight was going to be somehow important for my success in life. At age 8, doctors prescribed diet pills until my mom took me off of them when I fainted in choir practice. And from then on, age 12, I was in Weight Watchers and youth Weight Watchers. And pretty much my whole life as a child, there was this idea that I was pretty, but there was something wrong with me because I was chubby. I was a chubby kid.
Yeah. And what happened in terms of eating disorders?
Well, at age 13, I began to abuse laxatives. I had this cousin who told me about these chocolate X-Lax pills. I thought, oh, great. You eat chocolate and get to lose weight at the same time. Well, of course, that's not what laxatives actually do. They deplete your body of electrolytes. It's very damaging, especially for a child. I pretty much did everything from starving myself, exercising compulsively overeating as well, and fasting for days on end. I was obsessed with my weight and losing weight and what my body looked like from a very young age.
So how do you get from that to where you are now? And I know it's a long, long journey, but what were some of the steps that brought you to having a better body image or working through the eating disorders?
Well, I had an eating disorder from age 13, as I said, up through my 20s. And when I was living in New York City, going to NYU, there were times when I would not be able to make it to class. I mean, I even had to withdraw, I think, from some classes. So it really started to impact my life. Not just how I felt about myself emotionally, but my future and where I was going with my life. And even though I was able to manage it at times, I realized that, I needed to do something about it. That this self-hatred I had for my body, the idea that, I didn't love this very important part of who I was, needed to change. And I remember one day sitting down, stretching before I was going for a run in Central Park, and just thinking, I just felt this disgust for my body, and I just knew that was not right, and I was going to do something about it. So a friend told me about Overeaters Anonymous. I went to OA. I went to a meeting a day for 2 years. I got into therapy. I read every self-help book I could get my hands on, and I pretty much worked towards the goal of finding my own happiness within myself and healing, the wounds of having had an eating disorder. So pretty much I did the work, and it is, putting yourself in that place of committing to your own happiness. I used to call it the relentless pursuit of my own happiness, and I'm still doing it today.
It's a good pursuit.
Yeah.
Very good. What I was curious about was how you then, as a plus-size woman, launched into being a model. That wasn't the case back then, right? There weren't any plus-size models.
No, and I really fell into modeling. I was at a point in my life feeling really good about myself. I had, done a lot of my work, and I was studying acting at New York University. And my last year in college, I went to a photographer to get my acting headshots. He asked me to do a hair modeling job for a magazine. When we got the pictures back, he said, "These are really good. You should try modeling." I said, "No, I'm not going to do that," because I was asked to model 2 years prior. But when I went into see the photographer, he said, "You're beautiful, but you're going to have to lose 20 pounds." And I was the thinnest I'd ever been. And I just said to him, "You know what? I am feeling really good about myself. I feel comfortable in my body now. And I'm not going to torture myself anymore. So no, I'm not going to do the modeling thing." And he said, "Well, there's this new kind of modeling called plus size modeling. I never heard about it before." He sent me to an agency, which I joined. They helped me build my portfolio. Ford models bought over the agency. Wow. And I still didn't become a success as a model. That's the other part of the story. You think, "Oh, you're beautiful, you should model." An agency accepts you. And then every young girl, her dream is, "Well, then I've made it. And that's it." But that wasn't the case. It took a long time for me to find success as a model before, I'm jumping ahead. But basically, the whole modeling and success as a model didn't come overnight as well either.
I would love for you to tell me the story about
You want me to tell you the story?
to the magazines and the editors, because I think that's really amazing.
Yeah. Well, I went to Miami for the season and had a great time there, and then went to London and was developing my portfolio and worked all over Europe. And then I came back to New York, and I was with Ford Modeling Agency, fantastic, really huge agency, well established, and thinking, I've got this amazing book, and I'm just going to book all these incredible jobs, and I'll be working all the time. And I had subletted my apartment, so I was staying with friends. And I remember not working and my money running out and thinking, well, what am I going to do here? This is getting serious. And I need to book some jobs. And I remember very clearly looking at a cover of Vogue magazine, and Kate Moss was on the cover during the whole grunge phase of modeling, where everybody was really, really thin. And, if you looked almost sick, then you were fashionable. So it suddenly occurred to me, why isn't there a representation of all body shapes and sizes in the magazines? Why is it I can't see myself in the magazines when I open the pages? And that was the thing as a young girl, as a teenager growing up. I felt I had to fit into this mold, and my body didn't fit into this mold. And I did everything I could to try to get it, to make it lose the weight and be what I thought I needed to look like. So it just occurred to me, that this actually is what fuels the whole idea of an eating disorder, that idea of perfection and one type of body image. So I sat down and I wrote a letter to every editor of every fashion magazine, hand wrote the letter. This was before email was so big, and sent it out with my card. And Glamour magazine called and booked me to do not only a photo spread in the magazine, but they wanted to do a story about me and my struggle with overcoming an eating disorder. And that's when my career took off. I came from this idea that, when I was struggling with not working, that from reading my self-help books, I think it was Deepak Chopra who said it, if you give of yourself to help the healing of the world, that's where you'll find your success. So I started to think about, well, what did I know? What did Natalie know to help the healing of the world? I was in my 20s, and I only knew about my own struggle with my body image. So that's why I decided to do this. That's what the answer came. Write the letters to the fashion magazines. I heard it in my head, and
it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And it's also been really helpful for all the rest of us who have the same thoughts and the same fears and the same being worried about perfection.
Yeah. We're all the same, more the same than we are different. As much as we're individuals, we're all connected. That's my belief.
Join us for part 2 as we talk to Natalie about her really beautiful attitude about her weight. Stay tuned for part 2 of this interview on the Red Couch.